conversation on tribalism is still continuing even online. It is even heated still there. So it just tells you how much we need to work on ourselves as human beings here. I see a lot of bile. I will not read some of them, but this is what you had to say on video. Listen.
Tribalism and ethnic boundaries is real and deeply rooted since times immemorial, times of our forefathers to date. However, I have a very strong feeling that this can be turned around if and only if parents and our education systems can introduce anti-tribological studies from the CBC to the university, where we teach and we practice oneness until we get to that point where we shall all agree as a nation that we shall be one Kenya, one tribe, and with no boundaries.
The first step towards healing is acceptance. As a country, we must first start by accepting the fact that we are a tribal nation. We must then look for ways in which we are able to move away from this kind of politics and start practicing what we call issue-based politics. Like what happens in mature democracy, leaders are elected based on the manifesto that they present to the people of this country. Leaders are elected based on their character. Because if we focus on tribe, we are going to elect leaders who may not have the capacity to lead.
In different parts of the world, some people group themselves in terms of races, in terms of social classes, and in this part of the world, especially Africa and including Kenya, people group themselves in terms of tribal lines. In order to move people from tribal grouping or organization in politics, we will have to develop a framework, a clear one, where people will be selling politics of agenda, politics of interest, politics of principles that people can subscribe.
Now, for me, I believe the main reason as to why tribalism is still a factor 58 years down the line is because of the family upbringing we have here in Kenya, whereby you find out if you are raised from a certain community and your great-grandmother had some issues with another community, the same thing will be narrowed down up to you. You know, you'll be taught the same thing, that if I'm from Central, I cannot vote for Raila Odinga, or if I'm from Nyanza, I cannot vote for Uhuru Kenyatta. Because in this scenario, Raila Odinga is a Luo and Uhuru Kenyatta is a Kikuyu. But I thank God because the current generation, 28 years below, there's nothing like tribalism because we are learned, we associate ourselves with almost every person. And this I'm talking about with people who have been raised very well. And like those people who have been programmed that some person from other community is this and this, you know.
But there's nothing wrong with belonging to a tribe, but there's everything wrong with being a tribalist or tribalism for that matter. I'm a proud Rendile and a Kenyan.
For we as young people, we do not care who becomes the president, whether it's another Kikuyu, whether it's another Kalenjin. What we care as Kenyans is whether this person is going to deliver in terms of jobs, in terms of economy, whether this person is going to help young people improve their livelihoods and have better jobs and give young people loans, whether the person is a person of high integrity.
And in Kenya, we know corruption, it circulates within our nerves. It's in the blood, it's in the veins. There is no space left about it. So tribalism chips in that. We always feel that when somebody from our tribe hold certain positions, maybe especially in the government, we always feel that it will be very easy for somebody to access such positions, which is never the case.
All right, those are your views there. Engineer Lazaro here on Twitter says politics based on ethnic mobilization being practiced by most of our politicians is fueling negative ethnicity and frustrating cohesion. And Robinson Luceso says tribalism has been deeply rooted by the political elites in the citizens' mind that one cannot dare talk about it without mentioning his tribe. It's a menace. And Nelson Okumu says Kenyan politics are not based on issues. That's why we keep creating unnecessary anxieties of selfish gains. And we have Moigiwa Bobu, who says it started back in the time when you were born. Kwani we ungeitwa Trevor Stevens, lazima ungeitwa Trevor Mbija. The letter O is from the lakeside. Okay then. Clinton Pence says, lest we do away with the tribal names like, say, I'm a Kisi, you're a Kamba, then we are yet to achieve that dream. We can solve this by doing away with the tribal stance we stand by. Shiko, I want to bring you back on this. There's been something that has come up, the issue of parental guidance and curriculum review. Is that a solution here? I'm trying to look for solutions now. How do we get Kenyans out of the tribal thinking?
Honestly, Trevor, it might be a solution because we've not looked at it, we've not tried it out. But are we really going to tell our kids that, yes, I've taught you not to be a tribalist, but when you come out here, the leaders that we're electing are very tribal, and they will not give you any opportunity so that they can keep you very vulnerable and steal your money and steal your future so that you're vulnerable enough to vote tribally. You see, there's a whole thing, and it's a thing of the mindset. So this might actually work, Trevor. But working on a mindset has to begin by us who are responsible enough to wake up and go vote, by voting out those who feel like are rogue politicians or rogue leaders. There's a whole notion that leaders have to, and we heard the president saying, or rather asking, that certain tribes have to lead this country. My question is, and will forever be, when will I see a Makonde person leading this country, if then we have to go by tribes? But then I feel like our kids don't have the much knowledge about what happens because we barely talk to our kids about politics. Maybe it's also a parental responsibility to start teaching our kids of what politics means to them. If they're missing school right now because you cannot afford school fees, tell them it's because we have poor governance and poor leadership, and they should never elect such governance if they want a bright future for their kids. This then will help us start changing their mindset.
Okay. I'm trying to look for solutions now. And I want to bring you Mediora. What is the solution now?
Those of us who love peace must start to organize as efficiently as those who love and use war to ascend to power. We have realized that our tribes are too small to be feasible. That's why our counties have been coming together to form economic blocks. So clearly, there is strength in unity, and that's the way to go. Tribe is used to exclude others. That's when we say it's negative, or to gain unfair advantage over other tribes. Yeah. So if your goal for backing your tribe is to do those two things, then you should know through training, like we've heard that it should be entrenched in our curriculum, that you're veering on the wrong path. When we are building a nation, let us be clear about the goal. And the goal for me is to have a great Kenya, where everyone has a fair chance at making it as long as they're willing to put in the work. Okay. We know that enough work did not go into teaching Kenyans how to coexist harmoniously. Okay. So that's where efforts should be directed at the moment. All right. Now, it's possible that we can celebrate our diversity. I have lived amongst a lot of tribes, both here in Kenya, and I have interacted with other tribes in Tanzania. But I will tell you, tribe is a beautiful thing because I have been through those cultures. And when people understand what's at stake, then they give it their all, which is what we should seek to do with our people. Okay. Any leader who started their journey through dividing Kenyans will not get us to the intended goal. Okay. So we must exclude them from the table where decisions are made because they will ruin not just our future, but that of the generations to come. Okay. Ashura, what are your thoughts? What are the solutions going forward now?
I want to go back just a bit on the curriculum, that comment that has been given. I think it's a good idea, but the problem is that we always, if you look at the children who are going to school, when they're interacting with their friends, they don't know that this person is from this tribe or the other tribe. They just know this is my friend or a learner like me. So I think it starts at home with the parents themselves. Because when I'm cooking food, I'm saying this is our food, this is a culture food, or cultural food. This is mokimo is for Kikuyus. If you go to Nyanza people, they say fish is ours, is our cultural food. So I think maybe the parents can say, this is a Kenyan food, this is our Kenyan food. The problem starts within the family themselves, where you teach the children the wrong thing, the wrong ideology. It's not only the family, it's also ourselves as Kenyans. Same way during elections, you're like, you know, my name is Wanjiko, or my name is Otieno, but when you're flying to America, I'm Kenyan. We start talking Swahili, habari. Why not do that here in Kenya? Why are we dividing ourselves with our names as tribals? So Article 7 talks about the national language, and I understand it, that yes, we have tribes, diversity is beautiful, we need to promote that, but as Kenyans, we need to have cohesion. Because the Constitution of Kenya can lead us to do that change so that we don't have this enmity. National language is something we can go ahead, because what we do is that, we know we are changing. I need to talk Kikuyu, I talk Luo. We cannot force people to do that, because remember, all of us are not Kikuyu. You cannot say it's going to be a Kikuyu language only. How will you accommodate all the other tribes? Because you'll exclude the other tribes or oppress them. So I think Kenyans, we need to be cohesiveness, promote the national language. We use Swahili language or English, where all people have learned that, and we can understand, because the problem is ourselves. We need to promote the Kenyan flag. Outside there, we really promote it, but here we say differently. Charity starts at home. It needs to start here. When we teach our children, say this food is a Kenyan food. Don't start this is for the Nyanza, or I think that's where we can start.
Right, Reverend, 2023 is coming. So where do we go from here? Because we're all looking up to you.
Yes. Thank you. Now, I think solutions, because you are saying we need now to look at solutions. First of all, we need to agree as a people, Kenyans, that we want to bring the change that will take us from using our ethnic communities as having an advantage over the others. So there is what I would call social will and political will. The two must go hand in hand. Yeah. And it has to be at all levels. I agree, at family level, at community level, at the school level, as institutions, and then at the national level. If we are not very careful, devolution, although I see it is really one of the best things which we have, but if counties become ethnic enclaves, because that's what they are, if a governor is reduced to a tribal chief, then we have a serious problem there. So what we need to do is to find a very intentional way of providing spaces and platforms through which Kenyans will get to know each other. Because with our counties now, it is possible to have a Meru person, I come from Meru, who will go to primary school in their community, to secondary school, to university, and have a job, will never get to know about other Kenyans. So what we need to do is to be intentional about making, and that is why integration in the NCSC is very important. So we need to provide these opportunities, programs, projects that bring people together. The thing that was an eye-opener for me in 1964 was when we had a project for digging furrows in Tana River. And it was my first time to meet people from other parts of Kenya that I didn't know before. So we worked together, we sweated together, we get to know each other together. Now, unless we are intentional in providing such programs and institutions, churches, etc., but also we need to go back to look at how National Youth Service is going to happen. I think we need to revisit the idea of making sure that after high school, Kenyans get together, work together, and get to know each other, whether it's for a year or 2 years, and for everybody. That's the children of the president, of the governor, of the peasant, etc., come together. That's the only way we'll begin to know that that's the way to build a nation. Yeah. So a tribe as an identity is not a problem. You know, as she said, you know, the diversity of our food and all that. I'm very happy when I get chicken cooked by a lawyer because they're the best chicken cooks, etc.
Yeah.
You know, but as an identity is not a problem. It becomes a problem when it is seen vis-a-vis against the other. Even in Europe, you have tribes. You know, but they don't take their tribe to the polling station. Eh? They can go, they have their wedding, they have their cultural, you know, activities.
Yeah.
Okay, but when it comes now to choosing who your leader is going to be, because this is where now is the question of resources. Because as the saying goes, it is our time to eat.
Yeah.
You see, the whole question is eating. Eh? It is the resources. How do we have opportunities for everybody to access the resources that we have? So that is why we need to demystify that the tribe is the problem.
Okay.
It is not the problem.
Okay.
So identity is important for us, and to agree that we must change this.
Okay.
Starting, as I said, with the attitude and with the behavior.
Okay.
Because before you have, there is what we call ethnic contempt. Before you profile and you name another person, already in your heart, in your mind, you have already done it. So when you pronounce it, is the last thing to do. Eh? So you need to change that attitude. The second one is behavior. And to change that is, I come back again to what I said, consequences. But we need to be more positive now and say, how do we affirm each other as Kenyans? To do that, we need to know each other. And the way I said is
the issue is with the consequences that you're talking about, because how then is it implemented? We have a whole chapter 6 on this, but we still see them running. Now you say NCIC will come in. What will they do that is so different?
Yes, we are doing, what we are doing different now is that up to now we have simply been summoning people. They make statements. We then investigate, and we take them to DPP. They are tried, and very often, as it has been said, and that's why we are called toothless bulldog, because none of them is convicted. Of course, we have a few convictions. So, if we only approach it technically and mechanically, we'll not get anywhere, because people have a way of getting around it. Plus, as I said, some of these politicians, when they are summoned by us, they go to their community and they say, NCIC is after me because I am for you. And therefore, sometimes when we want to arrest people, their people come, they demonstrate, they say, mtu wetu, anaonewa. We want to go from there and they show that, as I said, with the consequences, we have begun to see results.
Yeah.
You know, because a person will think twice before saying something that would lead them to either being shamed or to being bad from even having a government position.
Okay.
That is the difference that it's going to make, and this is where we are going to concentrate on. Plus, of course, public education.
All right, Ashura, did I see you objecting to that? Or were you in agreement?
I'm opposing what we've had, because I think we need to remember that the problem, as before what I've said, that we need to emphasize on the resources. There's non-equity of resources. That is the problem. If a politician says he'll give me 1,000, so I'll just take that 1,000 to feed my family. I can't leave it. So we need to look at the issue, which is what? How we can look at how to include the youth, because those are the youth that come and do the demonstration. Because how we can change young people to access employment, education, affordable health, resources, empower young people. If we do that, if the resources are equitable, then that will be better. We need to ask ourselves before we blame young people that this is a national issue and an individual issue. We need to see how we can solve it and change that. I'm sure if we can do that, give them jobs, resources, education, then a young person will not do that, will not be instigated again. But poverty leads them to do that.
Shiko, you've been quiet for a while.
I'm agreeing with Ashura like 100% right now.
Yeah.
Because young people right now are desperate, are hopeless. And I'm here like, dear young people, can we not be used, but also, can we also try and vote out all these people who are messing our lives? Because with as much as we want to talk about consequences, and I'm sorry to say because I've worked with NCIC before and I still work with them, and I really acknowledge that they do a lot of work in trying, but we have not yet seen someone being held accountable for inciting communities. Look at what is happening in Pokot right now. The politicians are begging to be flown out of the counties, but the question is, the people you incited, where will they go? Where are they going? So I am here thinking, can we start acting and not just talking and beautifying our documents and saying that we have this in the Constitution, we have this, and we are doing this? Can we start seeing more action?
Nope.
This maybe will trigger a feeling or a thought that we are serious about cohesion, we are serious about the hate speech peddlers.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry to say, but it's a confusing situation to see that government institution that has quote unquote independent also acting like us who are hopeless and here hoping that the institutions that are there will fight for us.
Okay. Mudiora, very briefly.
Yes. We have to be bold. It will take courage for us to get to where we need to be. It's unbelievable that we have a government that promised heaven but hasn't even delivered what's here on earth today. We have a commission such as the one that Kobia chairs, supposed to take care of the most important thing in Kenya, cohesion. And yet they've funded it to only be able to have less than 50 employees who are supposed to cover the entire nation. It's like when we were in high school and you're supposed to wear a shirt, but because you have a sweater, you only have the collar, but then the bottom doesn't exist. You do it just for show, but you do not mean for these institutions to do the job they intended to do. So our leadership needs to be bold, fund the judiciary as they have requested, because when justice dies in the hearts of men, even if you have the best constitution or the best sets of laws, you will never achieve what was intended in the beginning. And unfortunately, the leadership we have today, justice and liberty, they are dead in their hearts. So what we must do is remind them that the Constitution is not a suggestion, that strict adherence to the rule of law is not optional. It's for all of us. And there'll be consequences. And Kenyans should not look at this whole thing with gloom. Things have been changing, albeit slowly. We've seen a number of impeachments based on grafts. Yes, we may say they are politically instigated, but then something did happen. An incompetent leader was kicked out. The people need to speak out so the leaders know what's on the ground. And what's on the ground is you will instigate this tribal division. But when the rubber meets the road, eventually, the people who will turn violent will come after you. That's where we are today. People are looking for an opportunity to grab because we've showed them that it's all to take.
It's free for all.
It's free for all. So yes, you will tell them we are fighting that tribe, but immediately after they get them out, they're going to come for you. That's what the youths are doing on the ground, looking for an opportunity to also grab like everyone else is doing. So don't be fooled that you'll get into office and be okay and fix things after you're in office. You mess it now, it's gone.
Reverend, I'll give you the final say on this because we ran out of time.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, first of all, is to say that, you know, when it comes to the laws, the rules, we have no problem with that. They are there and they are very good. But what really becomes the issue here is how do we organize our lives as a people? I think what we needed to do is we needed to agree that as a country, we are in trouble. We are in real trouble. And an opportunity comes once in a while. We have an opportunity now to say, as a people, we are in trouble and we must shape our future in a way that we are not going to find ourselves where we are calling, we are saying hustlers and the dynasties, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And that if we agree that we are in trouble, then the question is, how do we get out of that trouble?
Okay.
To me, that is what it is, and that is why I'm saying that one of the things we are going to do as NCIC in the coming 2 weeks, 3 weeks, is to provide really a platform where we shall have a dialogue together. Just like it came to a time when Kenyans said, we are in trouble and we must have a new constitution.
Yeah.
I am one of those people who suffered a lot under one party rule in this country. We had a critical mass that said time has come for us to change this. This is where we are historically as a people, and that is where we needed to move from and go see where we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've really run out of time.
I wanted something to say.
1 second.
Yes. Anyone, and I'm following what our chair here just said, that shaming those who are pulling us down will work.
Okay.
Anyone peddling the rotational presidency is peddling the politics of exclusion.
Okay.
Anyone peddling the hustler narrative is dividing Kenyans.
Okay.
Let's shame them and shun them.
Okay.
There's a new way, and that new way includes things changing.
All right, a minute, Ashura.
Okay, I was thinking that Kenyans need to understand that the government, the policies, it's all about the heart of the matter. We need to push.
Okay.
We need to have our activities, our programs. We need to wake up, as what the NCIC chair has said.
Yeah.
We need to take opportunities because they come once in a lifetime.
Okay.
So we need to see what opportunities are there for us to make this change going forward, and Kenya can move forward.
Shiko, 1 minute.
So can we just take the opportunity and vote out all the wrong leaders? Can we go for it, vote them out, and get good leadership? Thank you, Trevor.
All right, thanks. Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia, NCIC chairperson, thank you so much for making time. Mudiora Kariara, former presidential running mate. Shiko Kehika, founder, Tribeless Youth. Ashura Michael, member of the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Thank you so much for coming in. And Sylvia Muturi, helping us with the sign language interpretation. Thank you so much for coming in this evening. That is where we leave it for now. We've really run out of time. This is a discussion that still continues online, but remember, we are one people. That's all I can say for now. My name is Trevor Mbija. It's always a pleasure having you with us. Let's do this again next week on Monday. Bye for now.
Thank you.